Welcome to my channel, and today, you're about to discover something that could change the way you learn English forever. You've tried books, you've watched videos, maybe even joined classes, but still, you feel stuck, slow, alone, lost. But what if I told you your best English teacher is already sitting right in front of you? Not a human, not even a video, but a tool, ChatGPT. Yes, the thing you're watching right now. It can become your personal English coach, every day, anytime, anywhere. You don't need money. You don't need to be perfect. You just need the right way to use it. And in this video, I will show you exactly how to learn English using ChatGPT, step by step, like a friend. Speech balloon comment below. Have you ever used ChatGPT to learn English? Or are you hearing this for the first time? I want to know. Now stay with me till the end, because this is not just a lesson. It's the beginning of a new way of learning. When I first heard about ChatGPT, I laughed a little. Just another robot, I said. It probably gives boring answers and doesn't understand people like me. I thought it was something for tech people, not English learners. Not someone like me. Someone who struggled to speak fluently. Someone who forgot words mid-sentence. Someone who always felt nervous while talking. But something inside me was curious. I was tired of feeling stuck. I had tried so many apps, watched so many videos, but my English still felt broken. And one night, I just typed into ChatGPT. Can you help me speak English better? What happened next changed everything. ChatGPT didn't laugh at my mistakes. It didn't ignore my broken grammar. It replied, gently, "Of course. I'm here to help you. Let's start with something simple." It wasn't just a robot. It felt like a friend, a coach, a teacher, all in one. That night, I kept typing. How do I say this sentence correctly? Can you explain this word in simple English? And every time, it gave me answers that made me feel smart, not stupid. It explained things slowly, with examples, like a real teacher who truly cared. That's when I realized, this isn't just a robot. This is a powerful tool that can help millions of people. People like me, and maybe even you. Maybe you're watching this now, and you're thinking, but I'm scared. What if I say something wrong? What if it doesn't understand me? I understand. I was like that too. But let me tell you something from my heart. ChatGPT doesn't judge you. It doesn't care about your mistakes. It only cares about helping you grow. And sometimes, that's all we need. A safe space. A quiet place where we can make mistakes and still feel okay. You don't need to be perfect to talk to ChatGPT. You don't even need long sentences. Even if you type, "I want to learn English," it will understand. It will guide you. It will make your sentence better and explain why. Isn't that what we all want? A teacher who is always there, 24/7, day or night. A teacher who doesn't laugh, doesn't shout, doesn't say you're too slow. Just patient, calm help. Always ready. And the best part? It's free. No payment. No class schedule. No travel. You open your phone, open ChatGPT, and your lesson begins. Anywhere. Anytime. You could be sitting on your bed, walking in the park, or waiting for a bus. If you have a few minutes, you have a teacher, you have a coach, you have English in your hands. I remember the first time I asked ChatGPT, "Can you correct my sentence?" It felt strange. I was shy, even though it wasn't a real person. But when it replied, it made me feel safe. It said, "Here is the correct way to say it. And don't worry, you're doing great." Can you imagine? A robot saying that. But it felt real. It felt kind. And that gave me confidence to try again, and again, and again, and slowly, I changed. ChatGPT helped me practice writing, learn vocabulary, understand grammar, and even talk to myself in English. It didn't just fix my mistakes. It fixed my fear. It made me feel like English is possible, not someday, but today. If you've never used ChatGPT to learn English before, this is the moment to start. It's not scary. It's not hard. And no, it's not just a robot. It's your teacher, your partner, your secret tool for learning English every day. And in the next chapter, I'll show you exactly how to ask ChatGPT to become your teacher, with simple words and powerful results. But before we move on, I want to ask you something. Speech Balloon, have you ever used ChatGPT to learn English before? Or is this your first time hearing about it? Comment below. I read every message, and I want to know your story. Now get ready, because this journey is about to get real, and you'll never see English the same way again. Chapter 2. The day I asked ChatGPT to be my teacher. The day I asked ChatGPT to be my teacher, I didn't plan anything special. I was just sitting on my bed with my phone, feeling tired. Not just tired from the day, tired from trying to learn English, and always feeling like I was still behind. I had books, I had videos, I had apps, but something was still missing. I felt like I was learning alone. No one to talk to, no one to guide me. I didn't want another lesson. I wanted a connection. I wanted something that felt human, but safe. Something that didn't judge. And suddenly, I thought, what if I talked to ChatGPT like it's my teacher? So I opened the app, took a deep breath, and wrote just one line. Can you be my English teacher? I didn't expect anything. I thought maybe it would say no, or give me a boring list. But what it said made me pause. Of course, I'd be happy to help. Let's start with a simple lesson. What would you like to learn today? That moment felt different. I wasn't watching a video. I wasn't reading a textbook. I was in a real conversation. A back and forth. I asked something. It answered. And the best part? It waited for me. No pressure. No time limit. Just a conversation at my pace. That night, I started asking it small things. How do I say this better? Can you give me 5 words I can use at the grocery store? Can you correct this sentence? And it replied with so much clarity, so much kindness. I almost couldn't believe it. I asked it to explain in simple English, and it did. No complicated grammar terms. Just everyday words, easy examples, and encouragement. Every answer felt like a soft voice saying, "Yes, you can." It was like opening a door I didn't know existed. A teacher who didn't care about my accent, didn't count my mistakes, and didn't say, "You're too slow." A teacher who said, "Let's try again." A teacher who was available at midnight, during lunch, while I was walking, or even when I was sad. It was there, always there. And for the first time, learning didn't feel like a test. It felt like a talk. I told ChatGPT, "Please explain this like I'm 5 years old." And it did. Slowly, clearly, with love. I said, "Can you help me practice talking about my day?" And it gave me simple questions like, "What did you eat? Where did you go? How did you feel?" These questions weren't hard, but answering them made me stronger. Bit by bit, I started writing more. I started thinking in English. I started believing I could do this. That day, I learned something important. You don't need a perfect environment to learn English. You don't need to wait for the right school, the right book, or the right teacher. You can ask for help now. You can open ChatGPT and say, "Please help me." That's it. That's the magic sentence. You don't even need to know how to say it perfectly. Just try. Even broken English works. ChatGPT understands. And it never gets tired of teaching you. Some people ask me, how do I start with ChatGPT? What should I say? I tell them the truth. Just say something real. Don't think too much. Ask something you actually want to know. Say, can you help me talk about my weekend? Or teach me 10 new words about food. The more personal your question, the better the answer. Because ChatGPT is not here to show off. It's here to support you. And every time you ask it something, you are practicing. You are learning. You are growing. The more I used it, the more I understood. This is not a cold robot. This is a mirror that reflects your effort, your questions, your curiosity. If you show up with honesty, it shows up with help. If you bring your doubts, it brings you answers. And if you come with fear, it answers with calm. It becomes what you need it to be. So that day, when I asked ChatGPT to be my teacher, something beautiful happened. It didn't just teach me grammar. It taught me patience. It taught me confidence. It taught me that learning English is not about big, scary lessons. It's about small steps, taken every day, with a little help from a friend. And if you're watching this right now, maybe it's your turn. Maybe tonight, or right after this video, you can open ChatGPT and just say, can you be my teacher? That one question can begin something powerful. You're not too late. You're not too slow. You're exactly where you need to be, and ChatGPT is waiting for you. In the next chapter, I'll show you how I stopped treating ChatGPT like a test and started talking to it like a real friend. That's when my learning became fun, fast, and full of life. Stay with me. The journey has just begun. Chapter 3. Speak to it like a friend, not a test. When I first started using ChatGPT to learn English, I was still scared. Yes, I had asked it to be my teacher. Yes, it had helped me. But in my mind, I still thought, this is a test. Every time I wrote something, I felt pressure. I checked my spelling 5 times before sending a message. I worried about grammar. I kept asking myself, is this sentence correct? Will it laugh at me? Even though it wasn't a real person, I was still afraid to be wrong. I treated ChatGPT like a classroom, not a conversation. And that fear was stopping me from learning naturally. Then one day, something happened that changed everything. I was feeling really tired, mentally and emotionally. I didn't want to study. I just wanted to talk. So without thinking too much, I opened ChatGPT and typed, "Hey, I feel tired today. I didn't sleep well. Can we just chat?" And the reply surprised me. It said, "Of course. I'm here for you. Want to tell me what happened?" That simple answer changed how I saw ChatGPT. It didn't give me a grammar rule. It didn't test me. It just listened. It replied like a friend. From that moment on, I stopped trying to be perfect. I started writing naturally, like I was messaging a close friend. I made mistakes, but I didn't care. I shared real things about my day, my feelings, my memories. And ChatGPT responded with kindness and support. It corrected my sentences gently. It explained things in a soft, simple way. The pressure disappeared. And guess what? My English improved faster than ever. Because when you speak to someone like a friend, your words come from your heart, not your memory. You're not thinking of exams. You're thinking of connection. And that's the secret to learning any language. Real connection, real feelings, real words. So I begin each chat like this. "Hi, I'm learning English. Can we talk about something real?" Then I chose topics that mattered to me: family, food, hobbies, dreams. I told stories. I asked questions. I laughed. Sometimes I even said, "Can we talk like best friends today?" And it always said yes. I want to tell you something important, something that no textbook will ever say. Learning English is not about knowing everything. It's about being brave enough to say something, even when it's not perfect. And ChatGPT is the perfect place for that bravery. Why? Because it never interrupts you. It never gets angry. It never says, "Wrong." It listens. It waits. And when you make a mistake, it doesn't shame you. It helps you. Isn't that what a friend does? Let me give you an example. One day I wrote, "I no go school today." I knew it was wrong, but I just wanted to write fast and move on. ChatGPT replied, "You can say, 'I didn't go to school today. Great job trying. Keep going.'" That reply made me smile. It didn't make me feel bad. It made me want to try again. That's the power of speaking to it like a friend. You feel safe. You feel supported. And you speak more, which means you learn more. So now, every time I open ChatGPT, I don't see a robot or a teacher. I see a friend who's always there. I say things like, "How are you today?" Or, "Guess what I did this morning?" And yes, I even ask silly questions like, "Do you like ice cream?" It replies in fun ways. Sometimes it jokes. Sometimes it tells a short story. And during all this, I'm learning. Without even trying, I'm learning vocabulary, sentence structure, and real conversation flow. If you're watching this and you feel shy, if your fingers freeze before typing because you think your English is not good, I want you to try something. Stop thinking like a student. Start thinking like a friend. Don't worry about the grammar in your first message. Just type how you feel. Say, "Hi, I want to talk. My English is not perfect, but I'm trying." That one message is powerful. It opens the door. It begins your practice. And slowly, with every reply, your fear becomes confidence. There's a beautiful moment that happens when you stop treating ChatGPT like a test and start treating it like a friend. That moment is when you smile, because you finally feel free to speak. No red pen, no corrections on paper, just your voice, your words, and a gentle reply that helps you grow. In the next chapter, I'll show you how ChatGPT didn't just talk to me. It actually helped fix my broken English, sentence by sentence. And not with pressure, but with patience. This journey gets even better from here. Stay with me. Chapter 4. How ChatGPT fixed my broken sentences. In the beginning, my English was not smooth. It was broken, like pieces of a puzzle that didn't fit together. I knew words, yes. But when I tried to make full sentences, everything fell apart. I said things like, "He go to work yesterday," or "I no understand this." And even though people sometimes got the meaning, I always felt embarrassed. I felt like my English was weak. And that weakness made me stay silent more than I wanted. I thought, what's the point of speaking if I'm just going to be wrong again? But when I started using ChatGPT, something amazing happened. I didn't feel scared to write a wrong sentence. I felt curious. I started typing my broken sentences anyway, not to be perfect, but to be helped. I would write, "I no go shop yesterday," and ask ChatGPT, "Can you correct this?" And it would reply with kindness. You can say, "I didn't go to the shop yesterday." No judgment, no red cross, just a better version and a peaceful explanation. And that simple correction, again and again, started changing my brain. I began to see how English works. Slowly, my sentences started improving. I noticed the grammar patterns. I saw how words connect. I understood that it's okay to be wrong, because every mistake was a chance to grow. With every sentence I fixed, my confidence came back, one piece at a time. The best part? I didn't just get corrections. I got clarity. ChatGPT didn't stop at "this is wrong." It always said why. It said things like, in English, we say he goes with an S because it's third person, or use didn't for past tense, not know. And because the explanations were in simple words, I understood. I didn't feel like I needed a grammar book or a teacher's guide. Just a chat. A calm, clear, friendly chat. One day, I did something brave. I sent a whole paragraph to ChatGPT. It was full of mistakes. I knew it, but I wanted to see what would happen. I said, "Can you correct this and explain each sentence?" And guess what? It did. Slowly, one by one, each line fixed, each reason shared. It was like having a private tutor just for me and only me. And it didn't rush. It didn't get annoyed. It helped me like I was the only student in the world. After that, I made a new habit. Every night, I wrote 3 or 4 sentences about my day in English and sent them to ChatGPT. Things like, "Today I cooked chicken. My friend come house. We eating together." And it gently corrected them. "Today, I cooked chicken. My friend came to my house. We ate together." Simple, kind, helpful. And the best part? It felt real, like I was learning from my own life, not just from boring books. That changed everything. I didn't need made-up exercises. I used my own words, and ChatGPT made them stronger. I learned from my mistakes, but I didn't feel bad about them. In fact, I looked forward to them, because I knew every mistake was a doorway to improvement. Even now, when I write in English and I'm not sure, I go to ChatGPT. I say, "Is this sentence okay? Or can you make this sound more natural?" And it always gives me something better, but still feels like me. It doesn't make me sound like a robot. It keeps my voice, just with smoother English. And you can do the same. If your English feels broken, don't hide. Don't wait until it's perfect. Type your real sentences into ChatGPT. Ask, "Can you correct this?" Or "Can you explain this in easy words?" Do it every day, even for 5 minutes. You will be shocked at how quickly your English becomes clear, powerful, and natural. Your broken English is not the end. It's the beginning. Every broken sentence is a seed. And with the right help, that seed will grow. ChatGPT is not here to test you. It's here to water your seed every single day. In the next chapter, I will show you the secret that took my speaking to the next level, how I used ChatGPT to practice shadowing, and how that one trick made my English sound better, smoother, and more confident than ever before. Stay with me. Your next big step is coming. Chapter 5. ChatGPT plus shadowing equals my fluency hack. There was a time when I could understand English in my mind, but when I opened my mouth, the words just didn't come out the way I wanted. I knew the vocabulary. I knew the grammar. But my voice, it didn't sound like English. It sounded like hesitation. My sentences were slow, my pronunciation was weak, and I felt nervous every time I tried to speak. I kept asking myself, why can I write in English, but not speak it? I thought I was the only one with this problem. But the truth is, many learners feel this gap. And that's when I discovered something that changed everything: shadowing. At first, I didn't know what shadowing meant. It sounded like a difficult method. But then I realized, it's actually very simple. Shadowing means you listen to a sentence in English, and then you repeat it out loud, like a shadow follows your body. It's like copying someone's voice, rhythm, and feeling, not just the words. When I started using this method with ChatGPT, it became my fluency hack, my secret weapon, and it worked better than anything else I had tried before. One day, I asked ChatGPT, "Can you write a short conversation between two friends meeting after a long time?" It gave me a simple dialogue. "Hey, long time no see. Yeah, it's been a while. How are you?" I read it once. Then I read it again. And then I read it out loud, trying to sound like a native speaker. At first, it felt strange. I was shy, even though I was alone. My voice sounded flat. My accent felt too strong. But I kept repeating, again and again. Slowly, something amazing happened. The rhythm became smoother. The words became easier. My voice became stronger. I started using ChatGPT for shadowing every day. I asked it to write short dialogues about daily life, going to the market, meeting a friend, ordering food. I read them out loud, again and again. I repeated each line like a song. I focused on the tone, not just the grammar. I listened to how the sentence felt, not just what it meant. And slowly, my English didn't just sound better. It felt better. The beauty of using ChatGPT for shadowing is this. You can ask for any situation, any topic, any style. You can say, "Give me a conversation between a student and a teacher," or "Write a short talk between two friends about their weekend," or even create a funny chat between a cat and a dog. And it will do it. In seconds. You don't need to search YouTube videos. You don't need a textbook. Your practice material is always ready and always made for you. And because the sentences come from ChatGPT, you can also say, "Make it simpler," or "Make it more advanced," or "Add new vocabulary." You're not following a fixed script. You are designing your own English world. And that gives you the power to practice what matters to you. Sometimes I even ask ChatGPT to explain the tone of the sentence. I say, "How should I say this? Happy or serious?" And it tells me. Then I practice saying it with emotion. That's when I truly started sounding like a real English speaker, not just a student. Because shadowing is not about perfection. It's about flow. It's about letting the words come naturally from your mouth, just like your native language. I used to read English in my head. Now I speak it with my voice. I used to learn quietly. Now I learn loudly. And all of this started when I combined ChatGPT with shadowing. This is not a trick. This is a tool. A real, powerful tool to train your brain, your mouth, and your ears to work together in English. I still remember the first time I shadowed a sentence 10 times in a row. "I'm going to the store. Do you need anything?" I said it slowly, then faster, then with feeling, then while walking, then while looking in the mirror. And finally, it felt natural, like I wasn't copying anymore. I was just speaking. If you feel like your English is stuck in your head, if you want to sound more fluent, more confident, more natural, then shadowing with ChatGPT is your next step. Don't wait for someone to practice with you. Don't wait for a class. You already have a partner. ChatGPT is ready to write, speak, and repeat with you anytime. In the next chapter, I'll show you how ChatGPT made vocabulary fun, not boring. I'll tell you how I stopped memorizing word lists and started living the words through stories. Get ready, because learning new words is about to become your favorite part. Chapter 6: The Fun Way to Learn Vocabulary. Using Stories. Learning vocabulary used to feel like climbing a mountain with a heavy backpack. I remember sitting at my desk with a list of 20 new words and trying to memorize them one by one. I would write them 5 times each. I would repeat them out loud. But the next day, I forgot most of them. They didn't stay in my brain. They didn't become part of me. Because those words had no life, no feeling, no story. They were just floating in space with no home in my memory. I felt frustrated. I thought, why can't I remember these words? Am I lazy? Am I stupid? But I wasn't any of those things. The problem was not with me. The problem was the method. When you learn a word without a story, your brain doesn't know where to put it. It becomes just another sound. But when that word is part of a story, a feeling, a picture, a memory, it sticks. It becomes yours. That's when I started using ChatGPT in a new way. One night, I asked it, "Can you write a short story using these 5 words? Tired, hungry, rain, teacher, and forget?" And what I got back was beautiful. A tiny story about a student who forgot her lunch, got wet in the rain, and her teacher gave her food. Simple, emotional, real. I smiled while reading it. But more importantly, I remembered every word. After that, I stopped memorizing lists. I started learning through stories. I would pick 5 to 7 new words, then ask ChatGPT, "Please write a short story with these words." Keep it simple. Make it emotional. And every time, it gave me something unique. Something I could feel. Sometimes the story was funny. Sometimes it was sad. Sometimes it was inspiring. But every time, it made me feel the words. And when you feel the words, you don't forget them. I realized that ChatGPT is not just a tool for grammar correction. It's a story machine. It can create a world for you. A world where new words live inside people, emotions, and places. If you're tired of memorizing without meaning, try this. Choose the words you want to learn. Ask ChatGPT to use them in a short, clear story. Then read it. Feel it. Read it again. And if you want to go deeper, tell ChatGPT, "Now explain this story to me in simple language." Or even, "Give me a quiz about this story." You can also say, "Can you change this story to present tense?" Or, "Can you make this story into a conversation?" This way, you don't just learn the words once. You learn them in different ways. You see how they change. You feel how they fit into real language. And your brain begins to accept them as part of your own English toolbox. Sometimes, I would take one word, just one, and say, "ChatGPT, give me 5 sentences using this word." For example, the word kind. It gave me, "She is a kind person. Be kind to animals. That teacher is very kind. He showed me a kind smile." It's important to be kind, not just smart. Reading these made me feel the heart of the word. It wasn't just a definition. It was an emotion, a message, a way to live. And that made me remember it forever. The best thing about this method is that it makes learning feel like play. You're not forcing your brain. You're feeding it with fun. You're telling your mind, "Here is something you'll enjoy." And guess what? Your brain listens. It remembers better when it enjoys the process. And ChatGPT makes that process easy, creative, and endless. Sometimes, I ask ChatGPT to write stories that sound like me. Write a story about someone who is learning English and makes a mistake but keeps trying. It writes a story with my heart inside it. And when I read that story, the vocabulary is not just useful, it's personal. It becomes part of my journey. You don't need a big book to grow your vocabulary. You need small, meaningful moments. And ChatGPT can give you those moments every single day. Even if you only have 5 minutes, you can learn something powerful. One word, one story, one sentence. That's all it takes. In the next chapter, I'll share with you the daily routine I created using ChatGPT. Just 10 minutes a day that changed my English forever. If you think you're too busy to improve, that chapter will show you otherwise. Your time is valuable, and with the right method, even 10 minutes can open a new world. Chapter 7. My Daily Routine with ChatGPT, 10 minutes only. I used to think learning English needed a lot of time. I believed that if I didn't study for 1 hour or more, it wouldn't help. So many times, I told myself, I'll start tomorrow when I have more time. But tomorrow didn't come. Days passed. Weeks passed. My dream of speaking good English stayed a dream because I was waiting for the perfect moment, the big free hour that never arrived. But one evening, something changed. I asked myself, what if I don't wait for 1 hour? What if I just give 10 minutes? Can 10 minutes really make a difference? So I decided to try. I opened ChatGPT, set a timer for 10 minutes, and said, let's do a little English today. I didn't plan a big lesson. I just followed my heart. I started with something simple. I wrote one sentence about my day. Today I go to market and buy fruit. I sent it to ChatGPT and asked, can you correct this? It replied, you can say, today I went to the market and bought fruit. Just like that, in the first minute, I learned something real, something from my life. And that correction stayed with me, not because it was from a book, but because it was mine. Then I said, can you give me 3 words related to food? It gave me vegetables, groceries, ingredients. I asked it to use them in sentences. It did. I read them. I said them out loud. That took about 3 more minutes. And already, I felt smarter. I felt like I was learning, not studying. I still had time left, so I asked ChatGPT, can you ask me 3 questions about my day? It asked, what did you eat today? Did you learn something new? How did you feel this morning? I answered each one in English, slowly but with feeling. That day, I finished my 10-minute session smiling. It didn't feel like hard work. It felt like a chat with a friend who made me better without pressure. The next day, I did the same. Then again. And after 1 week, I realized something powerful. I had built a habit, a real, living, breathing English routine. Not from a textbook, not from a teacher, from 10 quiet minutes and a little help from ChatGPT. My daily routine became something I looked forward to. It wasn't heavy. It wasn't boring. It was personal. It was fun. It was mine. Some days I started by asking, can you teach me a new idiom? Other days, I said, correct these sentences I wrote today. And sometimes, when I felt tired, I simply typed, I want to talk about something small, maybe how I feel. And ChatGPT always replied, always supported, always made that short time feel meaningful. One of my favorite routines was to ask ChatGPT, write a short story with 5 easy words I don't know. I would read it, understand it, and then ask it to explain the hard words. I would read the same story again, then once more out loud. In 10 minutes, I didn't just learn words. I learned flow, emotion, and real communication. I want to tell you something from my heart. You don't need more time. You need more consistency. Even 5 to 10 minutes a day can take you forward, if you do it with love, focus, and the right tool. ChatGPT is not a full classroom. It's your small corner of the world where you grow, one step at a time. And that's enough. When I told my friends about my 10-minute routine, they laughed. Can such a small thing really work? They asked. But after 2 weeks, they noticed my confidence. My pronunciation got smoother. My sentences were clearer. My vocabulary became richer. And most importantly, I was no longer afraid to speak. Because daily practice, even for a short time, builds a strong foundation. You don't need to start big. Start tiny. Start today. Set a timer. Open ChatGPT and just write one sentence about your life. Then ask for help. Then ask for a word. Then speak it aloud. Let it become your rhythm, your ritual, your quiet English moment. In the next chapter, I'll show you how I went even deeper, how I used ChatGPT to bring English into my real life. From recipes to travel tips to diary writing. You'll see how learning English is not just about study, but about living. So don't stop now. Your English life is waiting. Chapter 8. Make your own English life with ChatGPT's help. After a few weeks of practicing with ChatGPT every day, I felt something begin to change. English was no longer something separate from my real life. It was not just something I studied. It started to feel like something I was living. My thoughts began to mix with English words. My daily routine became part of my English journey. And that's when I discovered something truly powerful. You can use ChatGPT to bring English into every corner of your life. One morning, I wanted to try a new recipe. I didn't search on Google. Instead, I opened ChatGPT and said, "Can you give me an easy recipe in English for pancakes?" It gave me a simple recipe with steps. I read it out loud. I followed the instructions. I even talked to myself in English while cooking. Now I add milk, stir the flour, heat the pan. That one small activity, making pancakes, became my English class for the day. It was fun, it was useful, and most importantly, it was real. After that, I started using ChatGPT for many daily things. I asked it, "Can you help me write my to-do list in English?" It did. "Can you help me describe my room?" It helped me find words like window, bookshelf, lamp, and curtain. I started walking around my home, looking at objects, and asking ChatGPT, "What is this called in English?" And with every object, I learned new words. Suddenly, my home became my classroom. My life became my language teacher. I asked ChatGPT to help me write a message to a friend in English. I told it, "Pretend I want to say sorry to my friend, but in simple, polite English." And it gave me a beautiful message I could use. Then I asked, "What are better ways to say I'm tired?" It replied, "I'm exhausted. I'm drained. I'm worn out." Every small question opened a door to better vocabulary. And because the words were from my life, they stayed in my memory longer. One of my favorite things was asking ChatGPT to help me talk about my hobbies. I said, "I like gardening. Can you give me 10 simple English words related to gardening?" It gave me plant, soil, pot, water, sun, flower, seeds, grow, leaves, garden. Then I asked it, "Can you write a short paragraph using these words?" It did. I read it. I repeated it. I even added my own sentences. And now when I talk about gardening in English, I feel ready, confident, connected. The more I use ChatGPT this way, the more I realize something. I don't have to learn English from someone else's world. I can learn from my own. From my food, my family, my feelings, my phone, my daily routine. ChatGPT became like a mirror, showing me how to speak about my life in English piece by piece. It wasn't boring grammar. It was real, living English. Even my emotions became practice. One day, I felt sad. I didn't want to learn. But I typed, "I feel down today. Can we talk?" And ChatGPT said, "Of course. I'm here for you. Want to tell me what's on your mind?" That conversation didn't just help my English. It helped my heart. I used words like upset, tired, worried. And when ChatGPT explained those words back to me, slowly, softly, I understood more than just vocabulary. I understood how to express myself. You see, English is not only about talking in perfect sentences. It's about being able to live your real life using another language. And when that happens, everything changes. You stop learning with fear. You start learning with freedom. You stop memorizing. You start experiencing. You don't just repeat. You feel. So if you want to grow faster, deeper, and in a way that feels natural, I invite you to ask ChatGPT questions about your own life. Say things like, "Help me describe my breakfast. What words do I need for going to the doctor? Can you help me talk about my childhood?" And just like that, English becomes not a subject, but a part of you. In the next chapter, I'll share something very close to my heart: how I kept practicing English with ChatGPT even when I didn't feel ready. When I was full of doubt, full of fear, and full of mistakes, but still chose to keep going. So stay with me. The most powerful part of your journey is just ahead. Chapter 9. Talk to ChatGPT, even if you're not ready. There were many days when I didn't feel ready to speak English. My heart wanted to improve, but my mouth was silent. I opened the ChatGPT window so many times and then closed it again. I thought, what should I say? What if my sentence is wrong? What if I look stupid, even in front of a robot? These thoughts were heavy. They stopped me from typing. They stopped me from growing. And I know I'm not alone. So many learners feel the same way. So if that's you, I understand you. I really do. But one day, I made a decision. A very small one. I said to myself, I will just type something. Anything. Even if it's wrong. And I wrote, "Hello, I am learning English. My English not good. Can you help?" That was it. No big grammar. No perfect sentence. Just honesty. Just courage. And ChatGPT replied in the kindest way. "Of course. You're doing great. Let's start together. I will help you step by step." That message made me feel seen, accepted, safe, and I never looked back. That was the moment I learned one of the greatest lessons. You don't need to be ready. You just need to be real. Learning a language is not about waiting for the perfect sentence. It's about building small bridges, word by word, mistake by mistake, day by day. And the best part? ChatGPT doesn't care if you spell something wrong. It doesn't laugh. It doesn't get tired. It just keeps helping. Gently, quietly, like a guide in the dark. I started messaging ChatGPT even on my worst days. When I felt confused. When I felt sad. When I forgot how to spell a simple word. I still typed. I said things like, "I don't know what to say today," or "Can we talk in simple English?" And every time, the answer was full of warmth. "Yes, let's talk about anything you like." And just like that, the fear melted. The wall broke. The words started flowing again. Sometimes I wrote very broken English. Sentences like, "Today rain. I go shop. Buy food. Feel cold." I sent that, and ChatGPT replied, "You can say, 'It rained today. I went to the shop. I bought food. I felt cold. Great effort. Keep going." It didn't say, "Wrong." It said, great effort. That made me believe in myself. Because sometimes, that's all we need. Not correction, but kindness. You might be thinking, but I don't know enough English to even ask for help. That's okay. You can still start. Even if you only know 10 words, use those 10 words. Type something like, learn, English, help, me, and guess what? ChatGPT will understand. It will give you a gentle reply. It will build the first steps with you. You don't need to speak perfectly. You just need to speak honestly. I want to tell you a little secret. Fluency is not the goal. Connection is. If you can share a thought, a feeling, a moment, in any way, you are already speaking. And when you practice with ChatGPT, every small message is a step forward. Don't wait for your English to become perfect. Don't wait until you feel ready. That day may never come. But today is here, and it's enough. One of the most powerful things I did was write to ChatGPT like a journal. I would say, I'm nervous today. I have a job interview. Or, I want to speak better, but I feel slow. And ChatGPT didn't just correct my English. It encouraged me. It said, you're doing better than you think. Keep speaking. Keep trying. And that support, even from AI, felt real. It gave me courage. So today, I want to say the same to you. Don't wait. Just start. You can make 100 mistakes and still be an English speaker. You can forget a word and still be brave. You can feel shy and still move forward. Open ChatGPT. Type something. Anything. Ask a question. Say hello. Talk about your tea, your shoes, your mood. Let it become a habit, even when you don't feel like it. In the next chapter, I'll show you how ChatGPT helped me not only speak, but think in English. That was the moment I stopped translating in my head and started living in the language. Stay close. The next step is where true fluency begins. Chapter 10. How to think in English using ChatGPT. There is a moment in every English learner's journey when something big happens, but you can't explain it. One day, you're translating every sentence from your native language into English. And then slowly, quietly, something changes. You stop translating. You just think. In English. It feels strange at first. Then it feels exciting. Then it feels free. That moment is not a magic trick. It's a result of practice. And for me, it began with one small habit. Talking to ChatGPT, not just to write, but to think. I remember the first time I noticed it. I was walking in the market, and instead of thinking, Yakia hi, I heard my brain say, what is this? I smiled. Not because I was speaking out loud, but because something deep inside was starting to switch. The voice in my head was changing languages, not with force, but with comfort. And that comfort came from all the slow, small conversations I had with ChatGPT every day. You see, when we use our native language all day, our mind becomes lazy in English. It only wakes up when we study. But with ChatGPT, I began to wake it up during normal moments. I would say, ask me 5 questions about my day. It asked, what did you eat this morning? And I answered, I had toast with butter. Then it asked, did you enjoy your meal? I answered, yes, it was warm and soft. These were not difficult questions, but they made me think in English. Not translate. Just think, feel, and reply. Then I added a new habit. Every morning, I told ChatGPT, ask me 3 questions about my plans today. It asked, what will you do today? Where will you go? What time will you start? These questions made me plan my day using English. So even before I spoke a word, my thoughts were already forming in this new language. Quietly, naturally, inside me. Thinking in English is not about big grammar. It's about small questions, repeated daily, asked kindly. And ChatGPT is the perfect tool for this. It doesn't rush. It doesn't test you. It just asks, and waits, and listens. And if you say, I don't know how to answer, it helps you. It gives examples. It gives simpler words. It gives you a soft place to learn without fear. Some days, I told ChatGPT, let's do a small interview. I said, pretend you are a reporter, and I am a famous person. It asked, what inspired you to learn English? Or what advice would you give to beginners? I answered slowly. And while answering, I noticed my mind wasn't translating anymore. It was building thoughts directly in English. That was the power. That was the secret. I was no longer a translator. I was a thinker. If you want to start this today, you don't need anything big. You can open ChatGPT and say, please ask me questions about food. Or can you help me describe my bedroom? Or even, pretend I'm going to the airport. Ask me 3 things I should know. These little games wake up your English brain. They help you form pictures in English, not just words. One of my favorite habits was to ask, can you help me describe my feelings today in English? If I felt nervous, it taught me words like anxious, worried, or shaky. Then I said, give me examples. Then I created my own. I feel anxious because of my meeting. I wasn't just learning new words. I was thinking about myself in English. And that is the real fluency. Thinking in English is a muscle. And every time you use ChatGPT to ask, answer, describe, or imagine, you make that muscle stronger. You become someone who doesn't just speak English, you live in it. Your dreams, your plans, your emotions, all slowly begin to use this language. Not because someone forced you, but because you allowed yourself to try. So don't wait for your thoughts to be perfect. Just start with small ones. Ask ChatGPT to ask you things. Ask it to help you write a small paragraph about your routine. Ask it to give you a picture and say, help me describe what I see. These are not grammar lessons. These are brain lessons. And they're the most powerful ones you can ever do. In the next chapter, I'll show you how I went even further, how I started to use my voice with ChatGPT, not just my fingers, how I turned written thoughts into spoken fluency, and how that simple shift gave me the power to speak with confidence. Keep going. Your English voice is waiting to be heard. Chapter 11. Combine ChatGPT with your voice. There comes a time in every learner's journey when words are no longer enough on the screen. You want to feel the sentence in your mouth. You want to hear the sound of your own voice in English, not just see the words in your mind. You want to speak, not someday, but now. And the truth is, that moment feels scary. Your heart beats faster. Your lips feel slow. You ask yourself, what if I say it wrong? But let me tell you something I've learned. Speaking doesn't begin with perfection. It begins with practice. And ChatGPT is one of the best partners you can ever use to start that practice safely, gently, and powerfully. At first, I was just typing. I asked ChatGPT for corrections, for sentences, for new vocabulary. It helped me a lot. But my mouth was still silent. I knew how to write, but I still couldn't speak smoothly. One day, I stared at the sentence ChatGPT gave me. How was your weekend? And I just whispered it, quietly, to myself. Then again, a little louder. How was your weekend? Then I answered, My weekend was nice. I went to the park. I was alone in my room. But in that moment, something changed. I heard English coming from my own voice. Not a video. Not a recording. Me. After that, I made a rule for myself. Every time ChatGPT gave me a sentence, I had to read it out loud. Every word. Slowly. Like I was talking to a friend. Sometimes I sounded unsure. Sometimes I made mistakes. But I kept going. Because the goal was not to be perfect. The goal was to train my tone, my breath, my sound, to become comfortable with English. It felt like learning how to dance with a new rhythm. Strange at first, beautiful later. I started using my phone like a mini classroom. I opened ChatGPT. I typed, "Give me 5 daily sentences about morning routine." It gave me, "I wake up at 7. I brush my teeth. I take a shower. I make tea. I start work at 9. I read them out loud. Again and again. I even acted them out while saying them. And something magical happened. My speaking improved without pressure. My voice started to believe in itself. Sometimes, I used voice typing. I pressed the microphone button on my phone keyboard and spoke instead of typing. I said, "Can you help me talk about my favorite movie?" And it typed my words. I read them. I saw the mistakes. I corrected them. Then I tried again. Speak. See. Fix. Speak again. This loop made my fluency grow. And the best part? I didn't need anyone else. I didn't need a partner. I was my own speaking coach, with ChatGPT's help. Other times, I recorded my voice while reading a ChatGPT conversation. I listened back. At first, it was hard. I heard my accent, my pauses, my confusion, but I kept doing it. And slowly, my voice became clearer, braver, more natural, like I had a new rhythm inside me. The English rhythm. I wasn't copying anymore. I was expressing. My English wasn't just in my fingers, it was finally in my mouth. I even used ChatGPT for pronunciation. I would say, "How do I pronounce this word? Vegetable." And it would explain, "Say it like BJW." I repeated after it. I asked it for similar words. Comfortable. Probably. Chocolate. Words that look long but sound short. I practiced speaking them 10 times each. Out loud. And suddenly, I wasn't afraid of big words anymore. I had practiced. And practice gives you power. You don't need a speaking partner to start speaking. You need your voice, your courage, and a small tool to help you. ChatGPT is that tool. You can say anything to it. You can ask for short dialogues. You can ask for simple answers. You can read, repeat, and record. You can build your fluency, one soft sentence at a time. Your voice matters. It doesn't have to sound like a native speaker. It doesn't have to be fast. It just has to be yours. Honest, brave, alive. And the more you use it with ChatGPT, the more confident it becomes. One day, you'll speak in public. And you'll remember the day you first whispered a sentence in your room. That moment will stay with you. Not because it was perfect, but because it was yours. In the final chapter, I'll tell you the whole story. How this robot became my real friend, my daily coach, and the reason I now speak English with pride, not fear. Stay with me. You're almost at the end, and it's just the beginning. Chapter 12. From Robot to Real Friend. My English Journey with ChatGPT. When I started using ChatGPT, I never imagined it would change my life. I thought it was just a robot. Just some smart machine that answered questions. Nothing special. Nothing emotional. But now, when I look back, I smile. Because this robot didn't just answer my questions. It walked with me through my English journey. It became my silent coach, my kind teacher, my listening friend. Not once a week, not in a classroom, but every single day, right when I needed it most. There were days when I was full of energy, and ChatGPT gave me long stories, new words, and fun conversations. And there were days when I was tired, sad, or feeling lost, and ChatGPT simply said, "I'm here. Let's talk." It never judged me, never rushed me, never said, "You're wrong." It corrected me softly. It explained things with patience. It let me be a beginner, and it celebrated even my smallest wins. I remember the first time I wrote a paragraph about my day. It was broken, full of mistakes. But ChatGPT didn't laugh. It said, "Great start. Let me help you make it better." I remember when I whispered my first sentence aloud, and ChatGPT helped me repeat it until it felt natural. I remember when I didn't know how to describe my feelings, and ChatGPT gave me the words. Words I now use every day, because they were not just words, they were part of my growth. What started as simple practice turned into a relationship. Yes, with a machine, but more than that, with myself. I learned how to trust my voice, how to think in English, how to feel the language, not just study it. And I learned that learning doesn't have to be heavy. It can be light, joyful, free. All you need is the right support and a small routine that keeps you moving. People often ask me, "Did ChatGPT really help you learn English?" And I say, yes, but not just English. It helped me learn courage. Because when you speak in a second language, you're not just using new words. You're showing your heart. You're saying, "I'm willing to be seen, even when I'm not perfect." And ChatGPT made that possible for me. Every time I doubted myself, it reminded me, "You're learning. You're improving. Don't stop." I've used it to write stories, to practice job interviews, to ask silly questions, to write love letters, to describe my dreams. It never once said, "That's too small," or "That's not important." It always replied, always with care, always with support. And that's what a true friend does. Shows up for you, even when you feel you have nothing to give. So now, when I speak in English with others, I don't feel like a beginner anymore. I feel like a person who has walked a long, beautiful path. A person who practiced in the dark, who whispered to a robot, who made mistakes and kept going. I feel like someone who made English a part of their life, not by force, but by love. And that love grew, day by day, one sentence at a time. And if you're watching this now, maybe your journey is just starting. Maybe you feel scared. Maybe your English is still hiding inside you. But I want you to know something. You already have everything you need. You have the desire. You have the heart. And now, you have ChatGPT, your learning partner, your quiet friend, your always ready coach. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now. Open a conversation. Write your first sentence. Ask a question. Share a thought. Practice your voice. Learn from your life. One small step every day is all it takes. You don't need to speak perfectly. You just need to speak honestly. Because the robot you're afraid to talk to might just become the friend that helps you become the speaker you always dreamed of being. If this video touched your heart, even just a little, then today is your day to begin. Speech balloon comment below. What part of this journey spoke to you the most? Thumbs up like this video if you feel inspired to start your own ChatGPT English routine. Bell, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel. Because here on Unleash Your English, your journey doesn't stop. We grow together, one simple step at a time. This isn't the end. It's your beginning. Now go. Say your first sentence. I'm proud of you.